Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another video. If you are new to this channel, my name is Frank Zhu and I'm a college professor teaching sociology, history and philosophy. I'm also an award-winning landscape photographer. Throughout the history of philosophy, many different ethical theories have been put forward. Some may make more sense than others to you. For example, if you think an action is morally good only when God commands it, you are following the divine command ethical theory. If you think morality is primarily a matter of duty, you agree with deontologists such as Immanuel Kant. If you believe that moral rules are merely guidelines to pleasure and happiness, you stand with consequentialists like John Stuart Mill. However, regardless of which theory makes more sense, most philosophers agree that there are fundamental ethical principles which can be identified to guide human behavior. But the famous German philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche was not one of those who would share this view. As I shall explain in a moment, he was strongly opposed to the belief that there were fundamental universal moral principles to be discovered, challenging the very foundation of Western morality, religion, and philosophy. As a pivotal figure in modern thought, Nietzsche exerted great impact in philosophy. His work significantly influenced existentialism, postmodernism, and even psychology. He is also remembered as a radical thinker who rejected the conformity of his time, urging individuals to abandon what he called herd morality and create their own values through a life-affirming perspective. The most important part of Nietzsche's attempt to attack morality, especially religious morality, was his declaration that God is dead. This widely quoted sentence is probably the only reason why Nietzsche has become so famous. Obviously, he used this sentence in a figurative sense, as a metaphor, because we all know that God is not that kind of thing that can die. What he essentially meant to say was that most people no longer really believe in God as the center of their lives. Religion used to be central to almost everything in society. Many artworks were inspired by religion, for example. Many philosophers, even some scientists, were deeply religious people. But none of this was true anymore, Nietzsche said. Some churchgoers still go to church and say a few prayers, but belief in God no longer has so much influence on their lives. Furthermore, by pronouncing that God is dead, Nietzsche was making the point that everything associated with God was also dead, such as the idea of a God having created the universe, a religious mission as the purpose of life, and so on. More importantly, in my opinion, Nietzsche's declaration that God is dead expressed his view that the idea of God was no longer the central organizing principle of Western civilization and no longer served as the absolute foundation for morality, purpose, or objective truth. For example, the Ten Commandments, which used to be regarded as absolutely universally true, were no longer valid because he said, God is dead. it was the religious morality that Nietzsche attacked most vehemently. For him, morality was at best a tool used to gain power. But such a tool was not needed by the strong and creative people because they were already powerful. Instead, morality was needed by the weak as a way of protecting themselves against the strong. Think about the various rules of morality. Don't kill, don't steal, don't cheat. These are all prohibitions, that is, rules forbidding people to do something. Now, take a different angle and ask this type of question. Who benefits from prohibitions? Obviously, the answer is not everyone. It is actually those who cannot protect themselves. In other words, moral rules are only for protecting the weak. Therefore, these rules never express objective or universal truth. They only reflect the desire and perspectives of those who need them. So, there is no such thing that is good or bad in itself. All moral rules are subjective, historical, and cultural construction created by the weak to protect themselves against the strong. Since morality was anti-natural and life-denying, imposing such immorality on people was detrimental to human society and individual potential. Traditional morality focused on suppressing instincts, promoting mediocrity, and turning suffering into a virtue rather than encouraging growth or life enjoyment. Also, enforcing a universal morality only harms superior and creative individuals who want to create their own values. With the declaration that God is dead, Nietzsche predicted that the loss of absolute morality would cause a crisis of despair and apathy. He warned that Western civilization would plunge into an era of nihilism, a dangerous situation where life was perceived as meaningless. Therefore, it was time to create a new individualistic way of living. Nietzsche encouraged individuals to become creators of their own values to conquer what he called the meaninglessness. The traditional life-denying morality should be replaced with new life-affirming values centered on individual strength and creativity. To conclude this video, Friedrich Nietzsche's view on morality was profoundly different from almost all other Western philosophers and moral thinkers. While others try to ground morality in God, reason, or utilitarian happiness, he argued that traditional morality was only a tool used by the weak to restrain the strong. For him, the conventional morality was a harmful human-constructed fiction which only inhibited human potential. To put it simply, there are no moral facts, and there is nothing in nature that has value in itself. Nothing is good or bad in itself. Different things are good for different people. By declaring that God is dead, Nietzsche demonstrated his belief that the church's influence on people and their daily life was declining. The declaration was also a warning that this loss would leave a vacuum, leading to the rise of nihilism, a sense that life had no inherent meaning. Therefore, it was time to establish new values. Well, I think that is all that I wanted to talk about in today's video. As always, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next video.